Well, hello again. It's been a while. Just wanted to give you an update. It's got a little mood lighting in the car right now. I've been working on this thing for several more days since my last video, which I haven't posted anything of the build yet, really. But I'll try and get it all going and get you updated on that. This is an update on what I haven't recorded so far, which is doing the lighting and finishing up little details, radiator inlets, which were a bit of a nightmare, but fun. And you can see, let me get in here as much as I can. And you can see that I boxed those in from the underside. It's not exactly what you would do with the real car, as the body line dips way down and goes right into that inlet. You know, you can't really do that here without major surgery. But it's an interpretation, and I think it looks pretty good. I think it was worth the effort. It took me a lot of time. I didn't box in the wheel wells, and I'm thinking about that now with the lights, because you can clearly see the lights. Maybe I'll think of something about that. I've got some metal that I could possibly bend. It's a little thicker than I think it should be. I'm still looking to see if I can get a thinner mill. I think I've got something like 24 gauge that I bought at Home Depot. And I think that might be a little thick, but it was the thinnest thing I could find. I still haven't got my radio in. Hopefully this week that'll come. I also don't have red lights in yet. I've got ambers. I've got reds on order, but I don't know if they're the right size. These lights that I put in, one of the reasons why I didn't record all of this lighting is because it's cobbled together from stuff that I had for years. And I was lucky that I had two different sizes. I had very, very tiny amber bulbs and normal sized, or well, whatever, larger size for the headlights. I have red lights, but they're the same size as these headlight bulbs, so there's no way I can fit them into the fixture in the rear, which is too bad. And like I said, I think even the ones I ordered, I was just looking at what I ordered on eBay. Something tells me there's still going to be the bigger ones. And I could not find the ones that would be the size of those amber ones, which are a little tiny, maybe millimeter. The ones I ordered are 3 millimeter, so I don't know. And I ordered those in white. Actually, they didn't even have those in red. So if white would do, because the lenses are painted red, and they also have a, let me zoom in, they have a red decal on them, which is actually nice. It's transparent. So that hides some of the sins of my paint job on those lenses, because they were not, brush painted. They weren't perfect. So that makes them look way, way better. So that's good. I'm going to take the body off and show that to you. Just disconnect the battery. This does have a light switch on it. I don't know how this is all going to integrate into whatever radio I get as well. Let me get the body out of the way. Let me get a light on. Let me get a light on. Come on, light. There we go. And you'll see it's crazy down here. So one of the things, because I cobbled this together, I used as the base kit one of these guys. All right. You can still pick these up for about $50, anywhere from $35 to $50 on eBay. Maybe you can get them at your hobby store cheaper. I don't know. I ordered some replacement bulbs that'll fit into this. There's also a really, really cheap set that I used on my LaFerrari that's about $11, and it works. The only difference is it plugs into, it doesn't have its own light switch like this one does. This has an on-off switch here. So when you plug it in, it's always on with the car. So that's the you can't selectively turn it off. So that's the difference that I recall anyway with it. But it does work, and it's a lot less money, and they give you a lot more bulbs. This only gives you 4 bulbs, and then you got to buy extra. And you don't have a lot of slots either. You only have 8 slots to plug stuff into. But as you will see with this is heavily spliced together. And the reason being is because some of my bulbs had different polarity than others. And it took me a while to figure that out, because I went to plug some of these into the sockets and they wouldn't illuminate when I turned the switch on. And then as I looked at them, I realized that the ones that didn't work had opposite polarity to the ones that were working. So I had to cut them and swap positive and negative. So if you see that, red is on the outside here, and now it's on the inside as it goes into the circuit. And black, same thing, reversed it. So I had to do that on 2 of the headlights, because I only had 2 that came with the kit. And so I had to do that for 2 of the headlights. I had to do that for the little amber lights that go in. And let me show you. See how tiny that amber light is down there? That one with the red. Really tiny bulb. And same with this one. And you can see the carving into the light fixture is fairly primitive. I just did that with the point of an X-Acto knife, twisting and peeling and sort of just kind of drilling it through and trying to get it just wide enough to allow the bulbs to sit in with friction only, because unlike the LaFerrari kit that comes with fixtures to insert the bulbs, this car does not do that, and that kind of sucks. But you really can't tell once the fixtures are in. It also damaged the chrome piece so I had to recut and insert the chrome that I put in on the opposite side of this plate, the reflective chrome. And I had to do that and improve the look of that. So, but I have plenty of that stuff, so I just went ahead and did that. So that was no big deal. But, you know, they look really nice. As far as the backlights are concerned, because these lights are so little, I was able to sandwich it between the 2 pieces. The reason why I can't use those larger bulbs is there's just not enough room. And I can't get a light bulb to fit in here without really separating these 2 pieces. And you can see I'm still doing everything with painter's tape and stuff like that, because I figure I might be doing more work on this car, might be doing more disassembly, so I don't want to make anything at this point too permanent. I just want it to look decent and functional from the outside. The other stuff I worked on is just minor stuff. I cut tiny pieces of very fine screen and did all of the air intakes with that kind of a mesh to do that. I don't know if it was worth the effort. It took a lot of time to do these little things, and I don't know, you know, it's okay. It's one of those things. The radiator inlets, because I kept test fitting back and forth, and these pieces were actually touching the clear, and I scuffed up the clear really badly, even got a little bit of glue on it and damaged it. And these marks are on the outside, so this is still the protective coating, so that should peel off. But I want you to know that if you do damage the Lexan, what I discovered, and I did damage the Lexan, what I did discover is, you know, I masked these areas off from the underside where they were damaged, and I sprayed them with Tester's gloss coat, and that fixed them. Can't tell. It really repaired the Lexan. Looks really nice again, because I was thinking, well, now they're so damaged I have to cut them out. But now I don't think I'm going to cut them out. I think I don't want to cut them out if I don't have to, because, you know, the edges are, Lexan does not cut well with blades. It leaves haze and stuff, and it's very hard to make it look nice. The only way you really make Lexan look good to me is to cut it with a scissor and get that nice edge that you get. This is just the coating peeling off, but the Lexan, if you see underneath, the Lexan's still nice and clear. If you cut that with a wheel, it gets that kind of dusty white color, and I didn't want that in some places it's that visible. I think it looks better just like that, especially after I get decals on it and all that stuff to hide some of the less than perfect imperfections. So, you know, the other thing, I just got these decals mounted. I cut those out with an X-Acto knife off the decal kit, very, very close to the edges. You got to do that with these. You've got to be very precise with your cuts. Otherwise, you'll see the flashing, as you saw on my wheels, that I didn't do an exactly perfect job. I sort of rushed those, and I shouldn't have. But I did. And you can also see back, if I flip this over, that I boxed these air inlets in, so they would look finished in some way, shape, or form. And as it turned out, it worked out beautifully as a place to mount my switch box for my lights, which is great. Because you don't get too many places to do that on these cars. Any accessories you add, you don't have a lot of room to figure out where to put them. So, you know, what's next? Well, you know, it's good where it is. I'm happy where it is so far. I could try and fabricate wheel wells. I'm thinking about it, especially now that I see that the lights are visible through the wheels. So I have to think about at least some way of covering this whole area up so you're not seeing the glow of the lights somehow. And, you know, I can do the same, could say the same for the rear. The radio has to be installed. And I also have to figure out how I'm actually mounting this body to the chassis in a way that will actually make sense, since I'm not using screws. Maybe I'll have to figure out that Italian guy's magnet trick and watch his video again and see if I can get magnets to do that with. But, and of course I've got to do the, properly mount the airfoil in the back, the rear wing, and do some decal work, lots of decal work. And tidy up the wiring more and all of that stuff. I mean, I'm going to be adding lights here, so that's why I've got, I got this all taped up. It's still probably going to be taped up one way or another. Anyway, I mean, there's just not much you can do with these things on the underside. And with painter's tape, it's not the stickiest stuff in the world, which makes me happy. I don't have to worry about damaging the paint or peeling up the paint. But because of that, you got to use larger squares to hold stuff down as well. And if it has any sort of stress on it, it just peels right up. So I hope that you think I did okay. And maybe I'll get it running this week. Kind of hoping so. And there's my inspiration to get this finished and get it looking as good as that. I do have water slide decals for this car too that say Rothmans that I ordered separately, but I haven't put them on. And so I have them for both scales. So I think I'll do this car and see how they look, and then I'll perhaps transfer, if they look good, to the static model as well. So I hope this has been a useful little tutorial. I'm sorry I didn't do a lot more of this on camera, but cutting teeny tiny wires for hours on end and cutting and shimming and all the little things I did, the hours spent in making these little boxes fit and gluing them. I did glue these, by the way, to the interior here. I did cutting with a Dremel. I think you saw that in one of my previous videos. And the trimming and trimming and trimming and this didn't work and that didn't work. It was very, very time consuming. I mean, you're looking at a week's worth of work here, full time, 8 hours a day, really. I mean, I've just put a lot of time into getting this to this stage. And to record all of that, especially without a camera person, you really couldn't see what I was doing in any sort of meaningful way. So I just think it makes more sense to tell you that, I had to do all these little fittings to get this thing to sit the way I wanted it to sit. I can't tell you how many times this interior's been in and out of this car. That's why there was, so much damage. I had to trim these. These are all hand-built things, and try and build them exactly the same on both sides was just not possible. You just have to get it to, you do the best you can, eyeballing it, and then you just keep working at it until you get them to do what you think they should do and get them to look the way you think they should look, because there's no template for this stuff. But that's what makes it fun for me. And, there's only so much of that I can illustrate in any sort of meaningful way. If you want to customize a model, you kind of it's a do-it-yourself job, and you got to just kind of do it the way you think and how you work and the tools that you have, what you have as available resources as far as materials are concerned. I don't have a lot of any of that stuff. One of my friends suggested I should buy a 3D printer, and, that becomes too much like what I do at the office. I don't want to make 3D models and print them and all that stuff. I mean, I didn't mind buying this one. This guy, whoever made this, did a nice job on doing the interior, but that's not something I want to do. That's kind of stuff I do at the office. I like working with my hands, and I like thinking about, found junk that I have around the house. That's why I'm a pack rat. I save all kinds of silly things. But I like that. That's kind of the old-fashioned person in me. I don't want to work on, computers. I do that all day. So, you know, this is more like a fluid sculpture for me. And if you like the work that way, then, you know, this is more of an inspiration to do that than it is a tutorial on how to do it. You know, I don't know if I'll ever do it again the same way, you know. So, thanks for watching. I'll give you another video, keep you updated. But until then, have a good day.